Welcome to 5 Stripe Weekly. Atlanta United have won 2 on the bounce with wins against Houston and DC, but now they face a cross-country trip against top of the league LAFC. Can the 5 Stripes keep it up? We discuss all that and more next.
Welcome to the show, 5 Stripe fam. I'm AJ, this is Tanner McLeod. Before we get into it, become a member of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube, or hop over from Facebook and subscribe. So it's a 6-point match week, and that means a lot of fun stuff to talk about, especially that Houston Dynamo match where, it kind of started off conspicuously for us a little bit, and then Albert Elise, he just
Moment of madness,
bumped the ref, and he's gone, and the match goes swimmingly for us after that. It takes a little bit for us to break down, of course, because it is a team that, is going to start to bunker and start to try to not let us score, obviously. And, against Red Bulls, it didn't really quite work out as we wanted. But in this match,
it absolutely did.
It really just, Donovan Nagbe started off the scoring, which is just unprecedented in an Atlanta United uniform as well.
Literally unprecedented.
Yeah.
Has not happened before, and it was a hell of a goal.
Indeed. Yeah, take it one touch and then just go, into the top left corner is fantastic. And with a Julian Gressel cross as well, that was beautiful. Lovely stuff.
The whole build-up play in that goal, I think, was fantastic because it was something that Atlanta hasn't really done this season. They won the ball back high up the pitch after they had lost it. Nagbe gets the ball, plays it to Hyndman, and you have midfielders running into the box. Yes. You had Hyndman and you had Nagbe both running into the box.
Safe spot.
Hyndman lays it off perfectly to Gressel, who chops it into the middle, and then, like you said, perfect finish from Dawson to Nagbe. And it's your midfield getting involved, creating goals, which is not something that's been happening for this team.
It's what we talked about.
It's what we've talked about for so long. It's we can go back through this podcast through the whole season and be like, we don't have anyone else in the box besides Joseph Martinez. Yeah. We don't have anyone in the box besides Joseph Martinez.
You need those.
We don't have anyone in the box besides Joseph Martinez.
Right.
But there were 4 or 5 guys there this time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a difference is Emerson Hyndman coming into the squad. I think he's kind of showing almost on to Nagbe what he can do as well. And, he's arriving late in the box, and that's exactly what you need, especially when Joseph's covered by 2 center backs. It's beautiful.
It alleviates some of the stress on Nagbe because Nagbe isn't going to be relied upon to be the sole midfielder that's good at creating on the ball because Hyndman can do that. Hyndman excels at going forward. His football IQ is incredible. Yeah. He gets the ball most of the time. It is a one-touch pass unless he's dribbling at someone.
And he really passes and moves.
And he passes it, and then he moves and takes a position further forward. He doesn't take a position to go back. He finds a space further forward and tries to continue to advance the ball down the field. And I think, like you said, this game went fantastically for Atlanta United, but it could have been a very different story had Houston and Harrison been able to take that chance. That's because Elise has the best of Michael Parker's, puts a fantastic ball in that somehow Houston don't score. And then as the ball's coming back in, there's a whole little rigmarole of things, and Elise gets the fouls LGP, and then the red card changes everything. And I think this whole match, as good as Atlanta United were, it is kind of undertoned and underlined by that red card, which, in my personal opinion, I thought was a weak call from the ref. Because, yes, did Elise get in his face? He was close, but the ref also stepped to Elise. And the ref was in his face just as much as Elise was in his. And the referee, I didn't think, controlled the match well. I think he could have looked at him and said, I'm going to book you again if you don't get out of my face, controlled him, and let him go on with that.
And I think, Houston Dynamo's manager or head coach had outlined to his team before the match, too, that they need to watch out for this ref and that, he does give quick cards.
Especially against Houston. Their previous match with this ref, I think they had 3 players sent off, and the manager was sent off after the game had ended. And so to me, in my opinion, that reflects poorly on the official because I think that shows there's a lack of maturity on the official's part because he thinks that he's more important than he is. And there was even a point in time where LGP had a foul, and he called LGP over and was talking to him, and it was yo, it's just a normal foul, let it go. I didn't think the referee did a good job, but hey, at the end of the day, it played into Atlanta United's hands, and it gave them a chance to grow in confidence. And I think that's the one thing that you can take away from this the most is that they were having fun, they had confidence, and they were going forward and attacking the team in ways we haven't seen since Tata Martino was
manager. Yeah, they were doing some flicks, some tricks, and it was we were enjoying our football again, and that's exactly what you want.
We were having fun watching it.
Exactly, and I think that's what you want to see from Atlanta United in the home stretch because, we're in the latter half of the season now. And so, it is a point where them building this type of confidence is massive. Yes, can we take away too many things or too many things from this match, then yeah, not completely, because it's that type of match where you kind of don't see a full strength team versus a full strength team. But with that, you want that confidence to be able to, move forward. But we'll move forward.
But you have to take have to take advantage of it, and that's the point. Is that, like you mentioned earlier, against Red Bulls, they did not take advantage of playing against 10 men and lost. And this time, they took advantage of playing a team against 10 men. And they put them to the sword. Yep. And that's not something that this team's had, is that clinical nature in front of goal and putting a team away that you needed to put away in a convincing manner. And this was the first time that Atlanta United has scored 5 goals since the 5-0 win against this week's opponent, LAFC, which came in April of 2018.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since Atlanta United hit the high five.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've scored more than 3 goals as well. But yeah, also Julian Gressel played a huge part in this match. Early on, it wasn't exactly. I think he was feeling it, or he was getting into the feeling of it, because some of the crosses were a little errant at first, but then he started to really feel it, and then that's where he was able to find the guys in the box with just his crisp crossing that he's known for sure. And a couple of assists, right? I mean, not too bad.
And a goal for himself as well at the end. And I think that one of the things that you can really predicate his success on in this match was a revert to the 3-5-2, back to the formation that the team won the MLS Cup under Tata Martino, where Julian Gressel absolutely thrived within that system, playing as a right wing back. And I think that it might be his best position that he has on this team. And when they switched to it, the team looked a whole lot more comfortable. And they
because we always have an outlet on the right, and that's fantastic. Because you need that width, and that's what we've lacked a lot this season. Or maybe too wide, and then we don't have anything going in the middle. It's a lot more balanced in this formation. And Dion Pereira actually had, I think, a really decent match. I think, especially tracking back as well. I think he was doing the dirty work that you needed to see from him playing left wing back as well. And I think you want to see a little bit more end product, but that that cross that gets deflected for Brandon Vasquez to put in definitely, at least luckily, got on the on the end of someone's head. So fantastic all around. And I think it's getting into the post-match quotes for Darlington Nagbe. Parky had a little bit of rib at him, especially because Darlington Nagbe missed pretty poorly. I believe it was against the Crew, I think, right? Where that shot was just way errant. They had a little bit of social media banter, and so after the match, he said, that's 100% efficiency, right? Laughs. He was in a good spot like that. I know we had one like that last year that got taken away because of offside, I think. So today he ran over to me and he actually said, finally, man, feels good for him to get on the score sheet. And I mean, it is one of those things. A year and a half since he's last scored. I mean, for a guy that used to be kind of a left winger and forward, it is kind of like a long time coming. I mean, it's kind of like he I think also getting when we get into the DC United match, we'll see that yes, he has been getting into the box more, and that's exactly what you need. And maybe that's what was on the note that was given to him.
We'll discuss that more later.
Yeah, that's a tease. But anyway, so we'll move on to the DC United match, where it was a 2-0 win. We left it late, obviously.
Very late.
Very, very late. But I think throughout the match, we created some chances. DC United, they definitely had their chances that they scuffed. For sure.
And Brad Guzan made some really good saves and stood up in some big moments when he had to.
Indeed. And so it's one of those matches where it's frustrating throughout. DC United look to escape with the result that they wanted, especially without Wayne Rooney. Pretty much their talisman, pretty much their guy that would have probably spurred them on to maybe at least score a goal or two. It would have been a much different match, I feel like. Lucho Acosta still, though, I mean, he still was a terror, but I think we contained him well enough. LGP with his dark arts definitely contained him as well in that regard. So it was fantastic, all around. But I think it's Pity Martinez's match to kind of a breakthrough. Hopefully he can build on that. But for him to score like that, reminiscent of Joseph Martinez, reminiscent of just kind of Joseph Martinez, kind of bowling himself into the box and, winning that type of header, I think, also unmarked, but still just, to be able to do that in that part of the match where we really needed something, especially with the Joseph Martinez miss, that's massive. So,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, and I think there's been plenty of criticism about Pity Martinez and his play this season. It's come from myself. I think a lot of people have, because we've been waiting for him to have his moment where he shows you what kind of player he is. Mm-hmm. And he came on as a sub against Houston and nearly had an assist with his first touch. Yeah. And then he comes on in this, this match as well, where he needed to. It was crying out for someone, a playmaker underneath, to try to start pulling some of the strings. Brandon Vasquez didn't have a poor game, but he didn't really do too much.
Yeah, he was miscast, I think, in that role.
But Pity Martinez came on and was immediately involved in the play, and he really made his presence felt. And I think something that's been noticeable in the last two matches is that he seemed a lot more hungry almost. He's been more physical. He's been throwing his shoulder to people, into challenges, into tackles. Whenever people come by him, he's just seeming more sturdy, and like there's more of a fire there for him.
And he seems more assertive.
Exactly, and he threw himself at that header with reckless abandon. Again, he was unmarked, but he absolutely threw himself at it and got it in. And you could see how much it meant not only to him, but to the entire team. The team wants him to have that moment. And he was fantastic, and it was a great goal. It was a massive moment for him, and he has had a flair for scoring big, dramatic goals in his career. So to see that, and then to have an incredible assist to Joseph Martinez, to take that ball and perfectly weight it. It was one of those plays where it was so perfectly onside that you question how he's onside because he was so far away from the next guy. But that was all Pity Martinez in an incredible pass. It was timed to perfection, and then Joseph slotted it away. But Pity, just fantastic. I can't say enough about him. I'm hoping this is a watershed moment for him, that he can kick on, because we've always said that if he can play to the level that we know he can play at, to the expectations, Atlanta United will be a much better team for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, and I'm hoping he can kick on and really start doing the business.
Right, and with that win, it is 3 consecutive wins against DC United at home, and also you have it's first consecutive clean sheets since that run of 5 matches in April and May. So all in all, the performance wasn't fantastic, but we got over the line in the end, and I think DC United, they were there to frustrate us.
And credit to them, they defended really well. They were very compact, they were very hard to break down, they were very well organized, and that was frustrating. But they're going to be one of the better teams, I think, that Atlanta United will face in terms of their discipline doing that. Their head coach has a tendency to do that at times. So it was a good result. You got the 3 points that you had to get, and did something that Atlanta United doesn't do very often, which is score late winners and then put anti-New York Red Bulls match, get another one and seal, as opposed to shipping a goal late.
Indeed it was. But yeah, I think Frank de Boer persisted with the 3-5-2, which was I think a lot of us wanted to see. But it was a little bit more experimental this time because Justin Meram was the left wing back. You didn't have Jeffrey Lerwitz in the middle, which I think lacked, for us, a little bit of that metronome quality to be able to recycle as well and quickly.
I liked it better, honestly. I think that you're more athletic, you're quicker, you gain more of an ability to go forward when you play those 3 midfielders together. And I think that's going to be the best midfield 3 that Atlanta United has. I think the more you play it, the more comfortable they'll get rotating in and out of each position and moving forward. I get the whole idea of controlling the ball, but at the same time, the work rate and the amount of ground you get covered from Darlington Nagbe and Eric Remedi is unmatched.
I think that's better. I think for me, it was the where we could get sliced open by a counter very, very easily. It's like kind of that Houston match from the very first game last season, where you don't have someone in the middle anchoring, and it just really it's dangerous.
I think the idea is to have someone, whoever is that farthest guy back, whether it be Remedi or Nagbe or even Hindman, but I think Remedi is probably your most likely candidate. But one of them has to make sure that if the guy who's holding makes that run forward, the guy who's in front of him now drops back into defense. And I think that's something that the more they practice it and the more they play it and put it into it'll become more natural. And when that happens, that goes into De Boer's system of total football and having guys interchange positions, and when one guy goes forward, another replaces him. So if that happens, I think that'll be better. But in terms of a midfield 3, I think that's the best technical quality and the most athleticism.
For sure. I think if you're going for attack and you want the combination play to be able to move together up the pitch, that 3 is fantastic, of course. But I have my trepidations. it's 3 points is 3 points, and
where we are right now, we got to take it. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
And it might not be the prettiest, but whatever way we get over the line is fantastic by me. So one negative, of course, was the Joseph Martinez penalty, which very strange. Maybe he hasn't been doing the hop, and then this time he did do the hop, and then it missed wildly, but. 2 misses in whatever in 2 years.
13 out of 15 on penalties.
I mean, it's
pretty good.
Bad.
I had in my brain, I didn't think it was a possibility he would miss. And
I think everybody had their phones up.
Yeah, it was like that's probably we talked about it in the fan cams yesterday. His worst moment as an Atlanta United player, like in terms of being embarrassing, and it's like
pretty good.
That tells you how good he is that he fluffed a penalty, but then he makes up for it and scores an incredible goal later in the match where he's cool, calm, composed, and just chips it over the keeper. And it's just like, sit down. I know I missed earlier. It wasn't because of you. I got you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And we got the Bill Hamid hoodoo off of our back.
Yes.
Fantastic. Always great to see us excise some demons. For sure.
Now it's just Red Bulls in the regular season.
Exactly. I mean, is there anything else?
We'll wait till next year, but that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess unless we build new hoodoo, but let's not even worry about that.
We're good.
So anyway, let's get into the news, and our standings are looking a lot better.
Yes,
these
things
days.
are looking pretty nice. Atlanta United is now sitting in second place in the Eastern Conference, and the best bit is they have a game in hand on DC, who are now below us because of our victory over them, and Philadelphia, who are a game above us. If we go into first, let me just rephrase that. If we win our game in hand, our goal difference is currently better, and we will be in first place. Despite all the gnashing of teeth for myself and everyone involved, we can still find ourselves sitting in first in the Eastern Conference, which is home field advantage in the playoffs, and we know how that goes.
Indeed. I mean, some people have some things to say maybe about the East, that maybe it's mediocre, and maybe the West is paper tigers. Whatever it is, I mean, it speaks to how close to each other these teams are. And really, besides LAFC, everybody's really close to each other in terms of points.
It's LAFC and then everyone else.
Yeah.
But Atlanta United, what's been important is that you saw your goal difference increase by 7 over the past 2 matches to go from +3 to +10.
Yeah.
That's massive because now the only other team that has a goal difference as good as you is NYCFC, who are kind of a dark horse right now because they've played 3 matches less than Atlanta United and 4 matches less than Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And games in hand mean nothing in terms of points until you play them. Mm-hmm. But if they were to win those games in hand, NYCFC would be sitting in first place in the East, but Atlanta United still has to play them twice once home, once away in September. So that is where I think you could possibly see the fleshing out of that first, second place spot. So my gut feeling is Philadelphia. They have been playing so well, but I still think they've been overperforming from what they have.
Yeah,
and with City, if NYCFC can get a goal scorer figured out to replace David Villa, then I think that they could be very dangerous.
Yeah.
But it's weird that they've played so many games less.
It's true, yeah. I mean, it's they haven't had Champions League. It's just weird.
I think it's because the Yankees home games take precedent.
Could be.
If the Yankees play at home, then they can't play, and it's just a whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they don't really have a ton of people show up to the matches anyway, so that's a whole thing anyway. Let's move on. Joseph Martinez has scored against every MLS club.
With that goal against Houston.
What an achievement. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, but and
his second goal against Houston was naughty.
Yes, very naughty.
He sat the keeper and the central defender down and said, "This is mine. Thank you very much. I am the king here. Goodbye. Good night."
And but yes, so when he was asked by reporters, what he would, what does he care about it, And he's like, they're just goals. Do I get an award for that? Classic Joseph Martinez answer. And also, I mean, in Doug Robertson's AJC article, he just was kind of pretty much, it was quote city, where it was beautiful.
It's classic Joseph.
Yeah, so many good things that he says when he actually wants to say them. And but another one being, since Atlanta became a team, we've always been an attack-minded team, not a defensive team. That's the way we have to continue to play.
Agreed.
Interesting. I don't know if there's some little undertone there, but and then definitely this one that warms my heart. I've always said that I like celebrating my teammates' goals more than my own. I don't know why, because I don't have a good answer. I enjoy seeing my teammates score more than myself. Then you guys, they're doing a good job and all deserve their opportunity. It's just about making them feel involved. I mean, what a
guy.
teammate.
And then he taught his little, I'm going to kind of quote him here when he was talking about LAFC and how when he watches LAFC, he wants to cry because of how attacking they are, and then something about he'll just enjoy sitting at home drinking his rum and smoking a cigar.
Exactly.
Because of course.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the type of guy he is. He just he's
also apparently MLS haven't sent him his nameplate for his Golden Boot award or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous actually. Come on, it's a nameplate. Like you can get that like Amazon.
Anywhere, just like go somewhere.
Yeah.
Come on.
My God. Anyway.
Probably has like a sticky note and just wrote his own name and just stuck the sticky note on the front.
Probably has to now. Yeah, just to like.
This is mine.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody that comes over, it's like, oh, well, anyway. But another achievement, Julian Gressel has reached 100 appearances. Is the first Atlanta United player to do so, and he also broke the assist record, 2 years, by Miguel Almiron, who did it in 65 matches. So yeah, I mean, he did it a little late, little slower, but still.
He's also not Miguel Almiron.
Exactly, he's not Miguel Almiron.
We'll give him that.
And yeah, Miguel Almiron also played more forward than he did. So.
And he was also Miguel Almiron.
Exactly. So, but congrats to Julian Gressel. I mean, that's quite an achievement. Who would have thought the super draft pick would have been the first one to 100 appearances? Amazing stuff. But speaking of Gressel and Joseph, they both make the team of the week, as well as Frank de Boer. And Brad Guzan also makes the bench. Fantastic stuff to see. That's, just, I think, with a 6-point match week, Joseph Martinez also, I think, probably maybe looked over for the, player of the week. I think.
Yeah, but there was another guy that had a pretty good game. Zlatan kind of did the business though against LAFC. I'm gonna give him that. I'm gonna give him that. And I enjoyed it. I was pulling for Galaxy in that. I was really salty because Carlos Vela's second goal shouldn't have counted because the time had already gone and he was offside, and I just don't want him breaking Joseph's record.
Yeah,
but whatever.
That's true.
I think something that is positive that blew my mind was the person that hit the golden spike yesterday, who, in my opinion, is the most famous person to hit it outside of Arthur Blank, obviously. But
possibly, yeah.
But Academy Award winner? Yeah. Where did this come from?
Yeah, Ron Howard. I mean, that's just like, some of you guys might know him from Opie, or Opie as a character from Andy Griffith, or from Happy Days, or my girlfriend's favorite movie, The Grinch. Who he directed that movie.
He's directed a lot of movies.
A lot of movies. I mean, if you don't know who he is, I mean, look him up. Find his entire filmography. Is just outrageous. And so he's born in Oklahoma, I think, and for him to be here, he's probably filming something here. And so I think apparently he's filming Hillbilly Elegy. Either way, it was crazy to see Ron Howard. That's just like
was not what I
icon.
expected.
Yeah, and from going from a child star to just an Academy Award-winning director, I believe so anyway, is outrageous. And for him to hit the spike, wow. So anyway, Atlanta United signed Mo Adams.
Officially.
Yeah, and he had some interesting things to say when he arrived to Atlanta.
At first, when he was traded, he didn't know where he was going, and then he said, I think I found out a couple days ago. At the moment when I got told I was traded, I didn't know it was to Atlanta specifically. Once I heard I was going to Atlanta, I was over the moon, of course. One of the team admins got in touch with me and said they would be flying me out. It all happened so quickly after that. And it happened really quickly because he was signed Wednesday morning and made his debut Wednesday night.
Yeah, or he was announced anyway. And that's just like really kind of unprecedented stuff usually, I think. I mean, usually you kind of have
training sessions.
Yes, some kind of time in between. Maybe not unprecedented, but it is kind of rare to see.
He was a warm body. There were 5 players on the bench.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's one of those. I think also he's that type of player. He doesn't really need to be on the ball a ton, and he's one of those guys that just is a bulldog, is going to chase around the playmaker. So it made sense that he probably didn't need a whole lot of training with the squad. But also, moving on, some terrible news, and you probably already know this, but Breck Shea has season-ending surgery on his knee, and it's terrible. I mean, it's like that injury when you saw on the field, pretty crazy and gnarly to see anyway, and
when it's so innocuous like that, where he kind of steps on it, but then he immediately knew what it was, and it's. There's a lot of mixed opinions on Breck Shea. In my opinion, I think he was doing the best in the position he was being put into, and he was working his ass off to be as good of a player and help the team as much as he could. And to see a player like this go down, it's honestly awful. And
because now we've okay, we've discovered a 3-5-2 without him in the squad, but it is a case where, he is a consummate teammate. He is depth at left back and left wing back and left wing. It's someone that, I think you need down the stretch. Because,
and who knows what he could have done as a wing back, getting further forward and playing more as a winger like he's accustomed to. So it's an absolute shame. We wish him nothing but the best for a speedy and healthy recovery. So, Brek Shea.
Exactly. But guys, that gets us to a new game. And maybe you haven't, if you've been paying attention in the last few weeks, then it's not a new game. But it's buy or sell. And the first topic is 3-5-2 or not 3-5-2.
I'm going to buy 3-5-2 right now, and mostly because of the 3 in central midfield. I bang on about 4-3-3, and I love Yada. Doesn't matter. I think the important thing for Atlanta United is having 3 players in midfield, and those 3 players being Eric Hermeti, Darlington Nagbe, and Emerson Hyndman. Because the 3 of them all have different qualities. All of them have the ability to cover loads of ground, and I think it gives Atlanta United a very strong platform to build on. But also, it's a comfort level for a lot of these players. You get the best out of Julian Gressel. And I think it takes some pressure off Joseph Martinez and allows him to find the pockets of space and play off the shoulder of the last man like he's so comfortable. So for me, I'm buying it. Let's stick with it. Then again, we'll see if it holds up against the LAFC, because that's a completely different kettle of fish.
Exactly. I mean, I absolutely buy 3-5-2 as well, but it is one of those things where, we kind of not only discovered it late last year and also used it to tremendous effect, obviously, but will it be found out if we play with it a ton and, we are maybe lacking the depth in some of the positions.
Center back.
Yeah, and it's really tough. I mean, you essentially you have one center back as the depth, and if you have one of the wing backs out, you pretty much have to use probably one of those. It's tough. It's gonna be, I think, difficult to run it out there game after game. But I think I love the the utility in it. I love the spacing. I love the balance, and I love that you're able to not only get Joseph further forward when you need to, make the runs in behind when you need to. But I do worry about this left back or left wing back position. We do need Bello in that spot, I think, to have the greatest effect. But Pereira and Miram have played it decently so far. We'll see how it fares against LAFC if we play it. So.
Yeah, but with Bello starting to make his way back to fitness, I think for him, playing in a 3-4-3 was outrageous and I think crazy. Yeah. But I think playing in the 3-5-2 is when he was playing that position, I believe, when he scored his goal against the Revs last year, could be a lot more of a comfortable position for him to play in.
It allows him the space on the wing to actually operate. So, but next topic for buy or sell is the MLS Cup Final Tifo is in FIFA 20. That's awesome to see, but do you buy where it is placed?
No, I completely sell where it's placed. Come on, FIFA, you put it on the wrong side.
Yeah,
it's awesome, but come on, it can't be that hard to go, oh, it's on the
reference.
They can change it.
Yeah, they absolutely could change it, I think. But maybe it takes a while to paint all of that. I don't know, who knows? But yeah, it needs to be on the window to the city side. Absolutely, so I absolutely sell as well. Last topic is that Darren Eales, on the potential Atlanta United NWSL team, he said to the Atlanta Business Journal, "We haven't considered a women's team yet. It is clearly going to be on our radar. It will probably be sooner rather than later. Do you buy or sell that? Yeah, I mean, we haven't, they haven't thought of really putting together an NWSL team yet."
I kind of sell the fact that they haven't thought about it. Because there's no way they haven't thought about it, or at least had conversations about it. Maybe they haven't, thoroughly gone, okay, we're going to do this, but they have to have thought about it by this point.
They said they haven't considered.
Look how many women we have going to our games. And that was something that Robbie from AFTV really noted as important, was that how many women go to Atlanta United games. And if you look at the markets, this is one of the biggest markets for watching the U.S. women's national team, but almost I would guarantee in terms of participation from women going to football matches as well, we're right up there. So I saw the fact that they haven't thought about it. I think they've definitely thought about it. They just haven't figured it out yet. But I buy the idea of having one, 100%.
Well, that wasn't the question, but it's all right. I buy that they haven't thought of it because, I mean, the infrastructure, I think, at the training grounds, they're already packed to the brim.
Well, they did
one.
buy that extension.
They did, and they haven't announced what it's going to be, and they actually, I think, are still figuring out what they're trying to do with it. And it depends on where they're going to play the NWSL team. I mean, that's a big factor. Will they be able to, get at least maybe even half of what the Benz is, at least attendance-wise? I absolutely hope, and I, hope the men will show up as well. And I think it's just one of those things where the infrastructure isn't quite there yet. I mean, season 3. I mean, you have the inaugural season. You have the Atlanta United 2. You have the reserve squad put in. You gotta take like steps and steps and steps in order to.
It'll happen, I think, at some point in time. But I think they've thought about it before. They just haven't. I think they've thought about it, but just gone. I don't think we can do this yet. But they haven't thought about it at all. I don't know.
Okay. But speaking of Robbie from AFTV, or formerly Arsenal Fan TV, a big inspiration for this channel. They were hanging out in Atlanta. Devin and Jay were gracious enough to bring them down from Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was fantastic that they, were able to take in an Atlanta United match. Also, Troops was there as well. Just, big up to those guys. They're class individuals.
Both gracious enough to do fan cams with us as well.
So check not only their vlog out, which is here in the card, but also their fan cams if you haven't checked them out already. And they're just, they speak so well about Atlanta United. It's just really heartwarming to see. And also, I am also a massive Gooner, and so I had to rep this tonight, and it's one of those things. I mean, it's
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I somehow managed to get into a suite to watch the match with them, so
exactly.
it all worked out. I can't really complain.
He had an even better day than everybody else, I feel like.
I'm spoiled now.
But so check that out, and check out all the other stuff on the channel content-wise. 5 Strike 5, Squad Goals with Tito. If you haven't seen it.
He kicks my ass badly. Exactly. I had forgotten it was like a PTSD cover up, and then I remembered it was.
And then it's like, oh my god, 11-3.
Yeah, that hat trick goal himself was.
That was saucy. It was.
Still. Let's just not talk about it.
Just go watch it. And but anyway, so we'll end the news with Atlanta United 2. They lost 4-0 to Birmingham Legion.
They lost again. Let's move on.
Yeah, and so it is one of those unfortunate things. They are continuing to lose, and they just have kind of teenagers playing in academy guys. It's tough, and veterans that maybe I'm not sure are good enough for this level, maybe. But
it ain't the one.
Anyway, let's move on to the mailbag, and you guys send in these questions through IG story. Please continue to do so, and we might answer your question in the future. First question comes from Keaton Thomas, 61. In regards to our recent lineup, do you think we'll see 2 strikers being used more often?
I think it depends on Pity Martinez, because if Pity Martinez starts playing better, I think you'll see him paired with Joseph, but given that freedom and the creativity, kind of thrive in a free 10 role. And in the 3-5-2 specifically, he's able to have a freer role with less defensive responsibility than he would have in other formations. And as we saw in the second half against DC, he thrived there, and he was very good. And as good as Brandon Vasquez has been playing, it might just be who we're playing against. But if PT starts playing well, he's got to be in the side.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, yeah, it's more of a free roaming role versus like an out-and-out striker, and so that's where the difference is. I mean, if you're terming strikers, then it's probably not going to be a striker. Next question comes from JDR. Who would you put Barco in for? I think, we'll have to
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll put it into these terms of right now, if he's healthy, and with all the healthy players that we have now. So.
Right now, if he's healthy, we don't play 3-5-2. Because there isn't a way that you can play him and PT in a 3-5-2 with having 3 men in midfield. Like, you'd have to drop one of Emerson Hyndman, Javier Remedi. I don't see that happening.
Well, I guess you maybe see Barco drop back a little further.
Could he play left wing back?
I don't think
he works hard enough.
He works hard enough.
I don't want him to.
No, I think that definitely misuses his energy a little bit, and I think he would be better suited as the 10, PT as the free roaming, the second striker, if you will. And so I think in that scenario, if it's 3-5-2, that's where I think it works. If not, it's got to probably get back into a 4-2-3-1
or a 4-3-3.
Yeah, which is dangerous because of how many goals we've shipped in that formation. But
again, I think 3-man midfield is
as of
really
right
key
now.
Because again, and it changes because of how Emerson Hyndman has like fit so well into this team so quickly that having him in midfield with Remedi and Nagbe, if they can figure out their rotations and making sure that one of them is always sitting, those three have to play because they're your best three midfielders and help you so much in terms of getting forward into the box. And then you have Barto on the left and Pity on the right, but. I don't. We haven't done well with the two sitting midfielders so far, really. In my opinion.
And it's also, with those terms, it's also we lack fullbacks. So
that too, that's big.
So we shouldn't do that. So anyway, that's where we would put him.
That's what we'll pay Frank de Boer to find out.
Yep. Next question comes from Gray Barbie. What do you think the lineup will look with Tito and Barco back at full health?
Tito will be on the bench.
Unfortunately. Yep. I mean, he could play as a second striker at times. And then if it's in a 4-2-3-1 and we have healthy fullbacks, probably as a right winger or a left winger, that could work as well. But I think, Barco, as we just mentioned, probably best suited, at least in the 10 role or a left wing role. Other than that,
I think the important thing about the two of them coming back is that it gives you
also
depth.
second striker, but anyway.
It gives you depth, and you're able to rotate those attacking players because when everyone's fit, has a good amount of attacking players that all offer a little bit something different.
Yeah.
And with how matches are being done this season, playing twice a week most of the time, tired legs happening, it does afford Frank de Boer the opportunity to rotate his squad and not really lose too much in terms of performance and skill because he has talented players that he can rotate in and out.
Yeah.
And that will help keep players fresher for the playoffs, hopefully.
Exactly. And especially, our attack, which if we're trying to, play a little bit more, kind of dangerously, if you will, we will need those legs in the stretch run. But next question comes from Eduardo V14. Do you think Franco Escobar can adapt to the left back position? I think
it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, he could play there in a pinch, obviously. I
think it depends on what the other team is doing.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about, I guess we're close here in a second, but we're going to talk about it more in the LAFC preview about how we would line up with someone like a Carlos Vela, who cuts in on their left foot, and he would be defending on his stronger right foot. Frank de Boer did that earlier in the season with Michael Parkhurst.
Yeah.
So it's an idea. He has the ability to get up and down. It's just usually you do play fullbacks on the side of their strong foot just because it's more natural for them.
Yeah, it's more natural for them to be able to put in a cross if they need to, and they don't have to cut in every single time if they really need to pass the ball somewhere. And last question comes from Thad G15. Why does everyone roast Martinez about the pen? He's only missed 2.
It was a terrible pen, so you can kind of chuckle about that because he had a lot
put
going
it on
on
goal,
in his run-up, but also at the same time, it's like, I think it's joke roasting because he scored later and it's like, man, he took a terrible pen and he never does that, so I'm not going to hold it against him because he scored later in the game anyway and because it's Joseph frickin' Martinez.
Exactly, yeah, no, I mean, and like we just mentioned earlier, it's, if that's his worst moment on, as a 5-stripe, it's not too bad. So, anyway, that does it for the mailbag. Thank you guys for sending in those questions. And that gets us to the match preview. It's this Friday, LAFC, and it's at the Bank of California Stadium. It's going to be tough. It's going to be
late Friday night as well.
And that as well.
They say 10, it'll be 10:30, just like El Trafico.
And hopefully everybody can stay up and, be at the watch parties and, enjoy this match because I feel like it really will be a back and forth type of match. Both teams like to possess the ball, although I think LAFC have been proven, at least this season, to be a little bit more dangerous even without the ball. They can counter press and really kind of put you in some unease, which when we've been in possession sometimes, and with a team like Red Bulls, we kind of struggle a lot of times.
It's a problem. And these teams have only met once before. We mentioned that earlier in the show, and that was the 5-0 win for Atlanta United, which was kind of flattering in the end. There were 3 goals in the final few minutes and a red card, so things got out of hand quickly. But LAFC have been very, very good this year.
Yeah.
When I was going on to do the match preview earlier and I looked on who scored and I was looking at their strengths, and it just says it's all green. Some teams it's like 3 things. LAFC it's just a bunch of things that they're just very, very good at. Basically scoring from anywhere, attacking from anywhere, passing from anywhere, protecting the lead and not giving up goals, unless of course it's the Galaxy game.
Yep.
Their weaknesses, there were 3. Avoiding offside, aerial duels, and then defending against skillful players. That's it. Just 3 things.
Yeah, and that's that bodes well against us because for us actually, because we do have some very skillful players. Pity Martinez I think would do well here. Maybe an Escobar coming on later, maybe also would be someone very dangerous running at tired legs. That'd be awesome as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just LAFC. They are, not only they play a consistent 11, and even with that, what you might expect, and you still most of the league hasn't been able to crack their their defense nor their attack. I mean, it's just
it's tough, and their home stadium is an absolute fortress. They've won 8 of their last 9 games there, so they not only do they win every game, they win every game at home, and they've scored at least 2 goals in 12 of their last 13 home matches. So they score. They're going to score. Yeah. It's a big test for Atlanta United. This is the biggest game they have played all season.
Yeah, and I think as
measuring stick.
Yeah, exactly. I think as we prognosticated early in the season, or even in the whole season preview, actually, that I circled this as a match that definitely we will not only the measuring test. We will be, I think, having to really figure out if we can do anything on the road against a good team. Because, we've lost our 5 last away matches, and this is the toughest test yet.
It's the toughest place you can go away in MLS. Against a team that just lost a match, so they're going to be probably a little bit pissed off as well.
Yep.
So Atlanta is catching them at a very interesting time.
Yes.
And I think this is, for MLS fans and for the neutral, I think this could be fantastic. For the league, it's going to be a great highlight of the 2 biggest teams I think that you have right now in terms of fan base and the cultural impact these teams are
trending
having.
up as well.
Exactly. They're kind of modeling themselves in a similar vein. But they're an incredible team, and they have some incredibly talented players, starting with Carlos Vela, who already has 21 goals and 8 assists in just 20 appearances, although his 2 goals in the last game, one was a crap pen and one was an offside goal, but we won't talk about that. The point is he's scoring against everyone or getting an assist. 29 goals he's responsible for in 20 appearances. Those are FIFA numbers, and he's doing it in real life.
Yeah. Another person to look kind of as a guy that I think we need to be able to target and make sure that we can get past him. Edward Atuesta.
He's very good.
Very, very good. And he's a guy that, in central midfield, he's just their playmaker. He's a guy that usually sits at their base. And, I mean, sitting at that base, he's got 8 assists.
He's the definition of a deep-lying playmaker because his passing ability, he has every range of pass in his locker. And when he does decide to go forward, he's incredibly skilled dribbling as well. He can go past players, beat a man, and then lay the ball off. Yep. He's an incredibly talented player. And a lot of the time, you don't think of MLS having a talented deep-lying playmaker like him. But that is exactly what he is. He is one of the best in the league, in my opinion, at doing what he does. And then you also can't forget about Diego Rossi, who also has 11 goals and 4 assists. And it's just like, the goals come from everywhere from this team. They are just incredibly talented, top to bottom, front to back. And there's a reason why they're pushing right now to break MLS records in terms of points, goals, and the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
They are the best team in the league, and this is going to be a very difficult test for Atlanta United.
Indeed. So, some of the keys to the game, we definitely have to limit our mistakes against a team this dangerous, and really not give away any of the balls. LGP, that's might just be an easy give for them to get a chance.
If Atlanta United plays around, because we know Atlanta likes to build out of the back, but like you saw against Red Bulls, like you saw against Seattle, like you've seen in numerous other games, they can get caught on the ball when trying to play out of the back. And LAFC is the best team and one of the best teams in the history of MLS at counter-pressing. When they lose the ball, when it's in Atlanta United's defensive third, they will be on Atlanta United players very quickly. And if they're not thinking and they make mistakes, LAFC will punish Atlanta United. They are not a team that misses their chances when they get them. Some teams in MLS, you can get away with that. This is not the one to do that, which is what's so concerning about this match for me, is that Atlanta United does not play well against a press. And usually make these mistakes. LGP, like you said, cannot make those mistakes in this game.
And also it's, with that kind of, them being so clinical, Vela has a kind of Arjen Robben quality where he cuts in, he's
Left
going
foot,
to score.
It's going in the corner.
Yeah, and so you kind of just really you can't let him cut in somehow, some way, and it's probably easier than said. But whoever plays, in that area pretty much has to just mark him to death. But yeah. We also, we probably need to figure out our style of play. And so maybe it's being a little bit more physical because seeing what LA Galaxy did.
They were very physical.
Yeah, and so, puts them off a little bit. Hopefully they still haven't learned from that. And, maybe we can at least make it a back and forth match and not one-sided with that regard. But yeah, we also need to take advantage of the space in behind because
when they're counter pressing and high up the pitch, there will be spaces left in behind.
Right.
They will play with the high end line. They are aggressive, so Joseph Martinez will have some spaces and the ball to be played into that area behind the defense. So that it is route one, and it might not be pretty sometimes, but if Atlanta United can win the ball back in when it's in transition in that kind of space between LAFC attacking Atlanta United's final third, like you saw kind of with that second goal last night.
Yeah.
If you have the ability to get the ball and get it quickly down the field, it might not be the prettiest at times, but it can be very, very effective.
Yeah, and I think especially, we've shown that we are deadly on counterattack, especially with Joseph Martinez leading a break or anything like that. So, that's something that we need to take advantage of. But, it's just one of those things where, this kind of team, we have to figure out are we going to press them? Because, they like to possess the ball. Is this something that, we're good at? Not particularly. And so is it a Vasquez that's in there that has been at least good at kind of triggering the press and getting the team to press as a team? But do you need the creative qualities, the technical ability to be able to break them down? It really leads to some interesting, I think, lineup choices for sure. But before we get into that, let's get into the injuries and unavailable players for LAFC. Mohamed El Munir, who took that Zlatan elbow to the side of the cranium,
he may have to have surgery to repair that because he does have a fracture in his skull.
Yeah, and if you've seen those X-rays, which we won't show, but it is just insane.
Gross.
But and for Atlanta United, Ezequiel Barco is back in training, of course, as we've mentioned. And
he was in the 18 for the DC United match.
So that bodes well. George Bello is back in training, but he's probably a little further away. He probably needs some time at the USL squad before he's really fully back because he also hasn't played since February.
Yeah, the first leg against February. The first match of the season.
Yeah, and also Tito Villalba, I think, is kind of in that kind of time frame, a little bit a ways away as well. And Kevin Kratz and Florentin Pogba are also just still coming back from the injury. I think Kratz probably way further away and maybe needs to be put on the season ending if it really is. Hopefully not, because we still need a Kevin Kratz, I think, during the stretch run. But that gets us to our predicted 11. We'll kind of go through the lines together. And, of course, Goose.
Yep, Goose in goal.
Yep.
And then I changed my mind about what I was playing because we discussed it a little bit before the show. And I'm going to actually kind of agree with you as far as what we're going at with the back line. And that's going to be what we saw at the beginning of the season, a back three of Parkey on the right, Robinson in the middle, and LGP on the left.
Yeah. And I think through the midfield here, or right bring back first, you have Gressel, and then you have Nagbe, Remedi, Heinemann, of course, as that three-man midfield.
This is where you made me change my mind.
Yeah, Escobar at left wing back because you have a guy like Carlos Vela who loves to cut in. Escobar being right-footed, fantastic, and also if you can kind of put Vela under some pressure a little bit, because if Franco Escobar, who loves to bomb down the wings, can get in behind him and have to make Vela do some defending, bodes a little bit better, right?
And Vela kind of got a bit frustrated in the Galaxy game by being a bit physically harassed in a sense by them, and that's something we know Franco Escobar is very, very good at.
He will probably get a yellow.
He will 100% get a yellow in this match. I can almost guarantee that. But if he can frustrate Carlos Vela and put him under pressure, that could be really good. Not to
Right.
mention he is athletic, he is quick, he's strong. He's all the things that you need for someone to try and mark Carlos Vela, who is right now one of the best, if not the best player in MLS, unless you ask Zlatan.
Yep.
And again, the point of defending on his strong foot when he cuts in is something that Frank de Boer has shown that he will do already this season. So when we were talking about that before we started filming, it absolutely clicked and made sense to me. And I think that's a position that we could absolutely see Franco Escobar in.
Yeah, and I think it not only what I just mentioned above. I mean, he's got that work rate where he can just bomb up and down
And there's
the
no one
entire
else on the
match.
team that has that.
Exactly. I mean, and especially at his pace as well. It's just, yeah, as a defender, he's just kind of otherworldly in that regard. But it will be still a different position for him, so it will take a little bit of adjustment. Hopefully, they've been training and will be training throughout the week with him in that position if it were so. And you also have, as the two. I guess we're going 3-5-2 now.
Two forwards, we'll call them.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I think it's Joseph, of course.
Yes.
And then, who do you have?
Pity Martinez.
Yeah.
I think that he's just so talented right now, and seems to be coming into some confidence, into good form. You have to play the man with the hot hand. That's why Vasquez has been playing.
Right.
And I think that with some spaces being left at the back, he won't have to worry as much about defending because of playing in the 3-5-2 because he'll have the three midfielders behind him. I think that if he can find some spaces and get the ball, and Atlanta United can get him the ball quickly when we counter, he has the ability to unlock the door and find Joseph like you saw in that second goal. And you saw that a lot in the game against the Galaxy when the Galaxy could get the ball into that center circle area when they were countering. There were spaces on the wings where the fullbacks had moved upfield for LAFC. And if anyone's on this team is going to get the ball in the area, I think it should be Pity Martinez. And with confidence, I think he has the ability to exploit them.
Indeed, indeed. So that gets us into our score prediction. And what do you got?
I'm not confident. I think LAFC are going to win 3-1. I think we're catching them at a bad time. I think they're pissed off after that game. Zlatan chatted a bunch, got them really riled up, and I think that they're going to come out with something to prove.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row on national television. And I just think they're the best team in the league right now, with all due respect. I mean, I think Atlanta has some injury issues, and they're trying to figure out the best way of playing. LAFC know how they're going to play. They're going to come out 4-3-3. They're going to play the same way they've played every other game. And I think it's that confidence, that familiarity that they're going to use, and they're going to come out. And I just, in front of those fans at that stadium, the numbers just don't lie, and Atlanta's been garbage on the road. So I'm going to go 3-1 to LAFC.
No, that is fair. But I think, with that little bit of confidence, especially with the Houston match, especially against DC, kind of different types of wins. Not only that, but, different types of grit, I think, to be able to see them out like that with clean sheets. I think it builds definitely some confidence going in. I think it's a 2-2 draw, which I think is a positive step in the right direction on the road anyway, especially if we get that on the road against LAFC.
That's a good point.
Massive.
You take that point. If you get that point, you absolutely take it. 100%.
Yeah. So that wraps it up for the match preview and gets us to our question of the day.
And our question of the day is very, very important. The most secretive of all secret notes.
Yes.
Caption what the note said that Frank de Boer gave to Darlington Nagbe. I don't know what it said, but there's memes abound on the internet, on the Reddits, on the Twitter spheres. It is out there. People are really enjoying it. But what did Frank de Boer write on that note to Darlington Nagbe? Get down in the comments below and let us know what you guys think.
Actually, I think Frank de Boer said after the match that it was some defensive notes and who to mark.
That's boring.
But, yeah, that's not as interesting as what you're going to come up with below in the comments. So anyway, that's it for us today. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button and share this video because it really does help us a lot. I'm Tanner, I'm AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching.